Okay, so we're looking at the circumference of a circle. Now, before we get started, we need to just make sure we know what the differences are between circumference, diameter, and radius. So here's a circle. The length all the way around the outside, this curved length here, this is the circumference. Basically, the perimeter of a circle is the circumference. That total length to get all the way around this shape. The length from one side of the circle to the other, when it goes through the center, this is the diameter. Okay, basically it's the width of this shape. This is the diameter, and the radius is half of the diameter. Okay, the radius is from the center of the circle to any point on the circumference. That length there is always the same, and it is the radius. Okay, so we have got the circumference. Sometimes you'll see it written as C. We've got the diameter. Sometimes you'll see that written as D. And we've got the radius, and sometimes you'll see that written as R. Okay, now the circumference and the diameter are related by a special number, and it's called pi. If I multiply the diameter by the number pi, then I will get the length of the circumference. Okay, so this number pi, okay, it's an irrational number. It goes on forever, 3.14, and if you want to get it exact on your calculator, or exact as you can be on your calculator, if you've got one like mine, you have to press the shift button, and then you press this button down at the bottom to get the pi. Can you see it's written in yellow writing? So to get the yellow writing, you have to press shift first. Okay, and that'll put pi on your calculator, and then you can multiply it by stuff. Now, following on from that, we did say, didn't we, that the radius is half of the diameter. So if I was given just the radius, I could double it to make the diameter, and then I could multiply it by pi. And so that's where this comes from here. This 2 times pi times radius also gives you the circumference. Okay, just because if you've got 2 of the radius and then you multiply it by pi, it's the same as doing pi times the diameter. Let's have a go at some examples. So here I want to work out what is the circumference of the circles. So for this one here, we know that circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. Now I've not got the diameter, have I? I've got the radius. So circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. So if on my calculator I do 2 times pi and I times it by 7, then I get out an answer of 43.98 millimeters if I round it to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's have a look at this one here. So again, circumference is pi times diameter. Here the diameter is 15, so if I do pi times 15, then I'm going to get an answer of 47.12 meters. And again, that's to 2 decimal places. And I advise you to try and do this on your calculator to just make sure that you can type in that button and you know how it works. Okay. Now there's some easy examples. Let's have a go at some slightly harder ones. So here I've got a semicircle, and someone might say to me, what's the perimeter of your semicircle? Well, I've got half of a circle, haven't I? I've got half of the circumference, but then I've also got this extra bit here, this extra 10. So the circumference of the whole circle would be pi times 10. That would be for a whole circle. I've only got half of that circle, so I'm going to halve that. That'll give me just this bit. I've also got this straight edge here to add on, so I'm going to also add on 10. And if I do those, that gives me an answer of 25 0.71 meters. And again there, I've rounded it to 2 decimal places. Right, another one, you might be asked to do like a reverse question. So they might give you the circumference and then you've got to work out what the diameter was. So if circumference is equal to pi times the diameter, then the diameter, think about your fact families, the diameter is equal to the circumference divided by pi. So if I do that, let me move this over here to make some space. So I'm going to do 18.85 and I'm going to divide it by pi on my calculator, and that's going to give me an answer of 6 meters. Okay, I've rounded it to the nearest whole number there. Okay, so that's a quick look at the circumference of a circle.
Joash Maths.